J. Trump. Now, this is the no makeup look because I have been working all day. I had a girl over here painting my back hallway and my bathroom because my husband, well, you know, hallway gets a lot of traction. So, but my husband put a grab bar in my shower for me so I wouldn't fall down and break my hip and have to get pneumonia and then die because I'm an old lady. So anyway, so it needed to be painted because, you know, that's what you have to do. So we are on chapter 12, Russia, part 1. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but way back in the day when Michael was a kid, he knew Felix Sater from the neighborhood, right? Long Island, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he's back in the picture, Felix Sater. He is not a good guy. So, okay, so in the fall of 2015, Felix Sater came to Michael and approached him about a deal in Moscow. So the whole "there's no Russia" was an out-and-out blatant lie. What else is new? So this guy was like he was in the pump and dump boiler room kind of mafia run, like scam. He had a criminal record. He got into a bar fight with some guy and broke a margarita glass on the bar and stabbed the guy in the face and the neck. And so he was assaulted. He was convicted of felony assault and was sent to prison. So he's a real good guy. Okay, so the Trump kids couldn't stand Felix Sater. They didn't want his name. They didn't want a bad guy with a criminal record's name associated with their good name. So anyway, oh, by the way, Ivanka and Don Jr. had also already been long ago investigated for felony fraud because they falsely inflated the number of condos that had been purchased because, you know, they would tell people when they came in, oh yeah, there's only like 2 condos left. When, you know, the whole thing was practically empty. So he's referring to Sater as the Whitey Bulger of New York City. Now, Whitey Bulger was the guy who was a mob informant for the FBI, and because he was an informant, he could continue to go along and do his misdeeds, right? And they looked the other way because he was telling on everybody else. So anyway, he was trying to get them hooked up with the Russian oligarchs, and he wasn't a criminal genius, Michael says. He had connections, but not at that level. He was pretty much a wannabe. So he comes up with this idea about a 120-story building in Red Square in Moscow. And Trump was just, boy, he was chomping at the bit on this deal. And so they were going to do a Trump Tower with an Ivanka Trump branded spa and Trump restaurants. So, and they were going to be aimed at the Russian ruling class. The top floors are being for the rich people, oligarchs, etc. Their top floor, the penthouse was going to be, and it was a $50 million penthouse, was going to be reserved for Vladimir Putin, and it was going to be given to him free because they thought, well, if he's up there free, everybody else will want to be in this building. So, there were overt and covert attempts to get Russia to interfere in the election, okay? And the other thing, Michael says, it is why, everybody wants to know, why is he so, enthralled with these people like Kim Jong-un and Putin and, all these bad guys? Well, it's because he says it's simple and obvious. It's because they have power. They can command all the press. He can do whatever he wants. And Trump also said that Putin is the richest man in the world. And he said he's the richest man in the world because he controls 25% of the Russian economy. So every major business like Gazprom. Now, Gazprom, I think, is in that book that Rachel Maddow was talking about, and how Gazprom, which is a gas and oil company, was operating here in the United States. So that was so that was, that was the deal about why Trump admires Putin so much. He's the czar. He's the dictator. He's gonna be the leader for the duration of his life. And he said Trump was in awe of Vladimir Putin. So yeah, because Putin would take over the entire country and run it like it was his personal corporation. And okay, so the entire society bent to the will of a single man, because he could lock people up he didn't like, and he could terrify people or bankrupt people just like that. So that's why he liked Putin, okay, or why he likes him. So Trump didn't run for president with any clear thinking of, I want to do this for the people, or I want to change the company in this way, or I want to change the company in that way. His only goals, well, first of all, he never thought he was going to win, but he wants to be Putin. He wants to take maximum advantage of every situation, just like he always done his whole life. Okay. They're like sharks, these people. They're constantly in motion, and it's like these cunning people who are always looking for prey, always on the lookout. So, yeah, he wants to spread his name all over the world. So that's his goal. So, it says that as it went along, Trump could see ways to cheat and win and lie to win. Whatever it took to win, that's what Trump was going to do. He didn't care. He doesn't care. He has absolutely zero morals. He doesn't care who gets hurt if somebody gets in his way, he doesn't care. So Putin hated Hillary Clinton. And so Trump tried to encourage that, and he tried to egg it on. If Putin could interfere on his behalf, Trump welcomed it, as you know. And it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? That kind of thinking. So, and then Steve Bannon likes to portray himself like he's an evil genius. Like in James Bond, they've always got these really crazy fuckers, for lack of a better word, who want to take over the world. And that's the kind of guy that Trump is. He's like every bad villain and every bad thriller like that. That's Trump. That's Putin, okay? That's Kim Jong-un. And that's people like Steve Bannon, who was an evil racist SOB. Apparently, he's referring to Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate, who was actually the Antichrist, which is something I've said all along. Now, I don't know how much of that revelations I believe in, all that kind of stuff, but seems to be falling in line, doesn't it? So, okay, so anyway, he could mess up Putin. That's what Clinton. That's what he wanted to do. So, he didn't care if there was cheating in the elections as long as it was done in his favor. I mean, he would have ranted and raved and screamed bloody murder if it was done for Hillary Clinton. They're cheating. So, okay, and he thinks that Putin is smart and successful because he knows how to cheat and pull things over on other people. He thinks that's a positive trait, okay? Just That's where Trump comes from. Okay, so you guys probably already know about, well, he sold a bunch of luxury condos to the oligarchs coming over here from Russia because they could come over here and pay cash. Trump didn't have to claim the cash. I mean, what do you do with that much money? I mean, millions. Okay, so he bought this 66,000 square foot mansion in Palm Beach. You guys should see some of those houses down there. Oh my God. So Trump paid $40 million for it. And like the evening before the housing crash happened, well, he listed it for $125 million. And the evening before the housing market fell, he sold it for $99 million. So, he made $60 million on his house to the fertilizer king of Russia. And he thought of, and it was this guy, and his name was Rybolovlev, and his daughter Ekaterina. And, Trump thought of these people as stooges, real beauties, stooges. I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow, so at that time, it was the largest price ever paid for a private residence in the United States. And also, Trump thinks that Putin gives all this wealth to these oligarchs and that everything that they actually have really belongs to Putin. And that these people, when they're buying condos and buying these $90 million houses or whatever, that it's actually Putin's money that they're investing for him. And yeah, he was convinced that the real purchaser was Vladimir Putin. And he also says that there's a bank in Switzerland that only has one customer, and it's Putin. And he also says that Putin's worth more than $1 trillion. So he was like Trump thinks of this guy like the Saudi royal family or somebody like that, the real ruling class of the planet. That's why when Khashoggi was murdered, what the fuck do I care? He shouldn't have wrote what he wrote. He should have shut the fuck up. That's a direct quote. What the fuck do I care? He doesn't care if somebody went in there and cut up a living human being with a bone saw. I mean, really? And the joke is, he convinced the white middle class, us, people in the Midwest, that he cares about them, and he does not give a crap. He couldn't care less. We are his chumps, his patsies, his base. Well, I'm not. You're not. You have enough sense to, one of the, a real, something that's really lacking in this country is critical thinking. But anyway, they were his path to power, so they call him a serial liar and unreliable narrator. No, somebody was calling Michael a serial liar. But there is a paragraph here that talks about what Mueller wrote about Michael, saying that he accepted the responsibilities for the false statements that he made during the first encounter or interview with Mueller, and after that, without prompting, corrected the things that he said, and pretty much he was, he told the truth, is what Mueller is saying here. Okay, so he said he wasn't going to lie to Mueller or the authorities, and he isn't going to lie here either. Okay, and that starts with he has never been to Prague. He wants to clear that up right now. Michael Cohen has never been to Prague. Even Trump didn't believe him. He had a room full of people, and they made Michael show his passport around the office to prove that he hadn't been to Prague, and ask him if he had another passport. I mean, really? Yeah, the Trump kids hated him. Again, they're talking about Ivanka and Don Jr. screwing people or lying to them as they were trying to sell the condos to them. So, Felix Sater, back to him, it would say shit like, he thwarted an assassination attempt on Colin Powell, really? And that testified in Condoleezza Rice's hearings, confirmation hearings, and that he knew where Osama bin Laden was in Tora Bora, in the mountains in a cave. He was a global grifter. But Trump didn't care. The kids and Michael didn't like him. They all hated him, but Trump didn't care. What Trump wanted was a back channel to Russia. All during this campaign, he wanted to know exactly what was going on. They had a letter of intent to start this Trump Moscow hotel, and which only would have been a building with like an Ivanka Trump spa, Trump restaurants, Trump's name on the building, and other than that, and Trump doesn't have to put down a dime. All he's doing is selling his name. That's it. So that was September of 2015, and all along, he's saying, no Russia, no nothing. So here's the mock-up of Trump Tower, Russia. So, and also, I don't know exactly where this is, but okay, so Jared apparently, Ivanka was really sad. They were, in a helicopter or something, or on a plane. She was with Michael. And so he said she used to be a nicer person, a lot more approachable and down to earth. He liked her. They got along really well. But they were flying over Manhattan one day, and she was really down, and Michael asked her what was going on, and she said that Jared broke up with her, and it was because his mother wanted him to marry an Orthodox Jew. So he broke up with her. And she said, I really love him. And then Michael talks about how the Trump kids really are human beings, the way he knew them, but that and that they're starved for their father's love. He left Ivana with those 3 kids. Pretty much didn't want to raise kids. He doesn't want to raise kids, and Don was bound and determined to be a better dad than his better dad to his kids than he was to than Trump was to his kids. That was Don's goal, was to be a better dad than his own dad was. So, but you guys saw that picture. He's not any better. He's a freak. He's a freak. So they got no love from their father as children, and they were humiliated when he openly cheated on their mother, with Marla Maples. But now, they know that he's lying, but out of fear and loyalty, they go along with what they've been going along with what he's been saying. But now he's wondering if they've just stopped caring and are only interested in accumulating power and wealth. That's what Michael's wondering. So this is really mostly about Felix Sater and how the kids didn't like him. And Felix Sater is still coming in trying to mastermind this Moscow Tower. And I'm telling you, all along, that Trump was campaigning, he had this back channel deal going down. Never did come to fruition, but So yeah, Trump was only in there. He only was in the campaign to make money. Period. That was it. Free press, and then after that, he wanted to set up a news network that would rival Fox. Okay, then it came out in the newspaper that Sater was dealing with Trump, and everybody knew what a dirtbag he was, and so they had to get rid of him. But Trump said, I don't even know that guy. He was a senior advisor to Donald Trump. That's what it said on his business card. I mean, I know you can fake business cards. I could have that Barbara Herman. Whoops. Actually, that's my maiden name. So, anybody can have a business card made up to say anything. And Putin thought that Trump was talented and colorful. That was what Putin thought. So, okay, so the deal about that stupid Don Jr. and Eric went over to Africa, Zimbabwe, and killed an elephant and a lioness and a civet cat, crocodiles, a water, and that son of a bitch, Don Jr., cut off an elephant's tail and is holding it up. It's disgusting. He is a hunter, he tweeted. I love to hunt and eat. And and Trump just thought this was the most ridiculous. His exact quote was, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then you drag your brother in, get him in trouble, and calling him fucking big man and get the fuck out of my office. So those are his words, not mine. And so Michael says, well, about the elephant, he fed the village for half a year, and Trump said, fuck that. Okay, so we're 22 minutes, and I think I might be able to get through Russia if you're listening, part 2. Okay, so this is about Corey and Hope having an affair. We already went over that. Married man with 5 children and a wife. And Michael said, no, that isn't cool. And Trump was a leaker, so I can go through this really fast. So Trump was Lewandowski was a leaker, and this is also when Manafort came on the scene. So Lewandowski was going to these different news outlets trying to shop the story about Ivanka, that she was having an affair and that Jared was gay. And so so he had this big story, and he would tell the reporter, hey, I've got an exclusive, and the people would say, okay, but I want an interview with Trump for the story. And so that's how he was shopping it. It was a deal. Anyway, they found out about it, and told Michael went down and told, because some reporter called him. Michael went down and Lewandowski, idiotic to the last drop. So he went down to Ivanka's office and told her exactly what happened. She immediately called Jared. He picked it up on the first ring. She told him what happened. And then Jared's like, MC, because that's what they called him, MC by his initials. You know what to do. So he got off the phone with Jared, and Ivanka said, Michael, you need to tell Dad about this. And so he's like, they got the story killed. Ivanka was enraged. Michael wanted Ivanka to talk to him, and Ivanka wanted Michael to talk to him. So he did. He went in up there and told him, and Trump is like, oh, bullshit, you're just jealous of him or whatever. You're just trying to stir up trouble. And, he's like, no, but Trump is a coward. He won't fire anybody. So Ivanka's like, I'm not going down there. And Eric's like, I've got meetings. And he's like, who's going to fire him? And Michael said, I'll do it. And Don said, I will too. So they fired him, okay? And then, Trump thought he was doing such a good job, Lewandowski, but no, Ivanka didn't. And Trump said, I don't believe you, Michael. And then Michael blew up and said, you think I would fucking lie to you? And he stormed out of the office and was real pissed off. He told his wife about it. His wife was hoping he would quit, but he didn't. And then, they all made nice. And so anyway. So one of the other guys, and Eric, one of the other guys, Don Jr. and Michael, fired him. And Lewandowski was like, I want to talk to the boss. No, they didn't let him do that. Don actually fired him. Don Jr. But then Lewandowski would still go around talking about Trump and how much money he had and how smart he was and how, he was so superior. Well, I don't know why he would do this. But behind his back, he called him a moron, which is the truth. And so, again, like Trump, they didn't have any real ideology or, any kind of thing that they were promoting that would be good for our society. Or they were very political, but they only were political in the intent, in the way of, cutting somebody down or cutting somebody out just so that they could win and make money, period. And then he talks about, this is a quote, criminal train wreck named Paul Manafort. That's a whole nother story. I don't know if you've if you know that much about that deal, but I think Rachel Maddow did a show about what a dirtbag he is. So Michael's still working in the office, and he'd talk with Trump about what to do about a certain invoice or how to stiff a certain vendor, because they did that all the time. That people would go and put like the glass people, for example, or the mirror people, or the lighting people in a building, whatever. They'd offer a bid. The bid would be accepted. They would do the work, and then they didn't pay him. I mean, people were going out of business right and left. He was killing these little mom and pop businesses because he's a selfish. Oh, okay. So one day there's a bunch of people sitting in Trump's office, and Don Jr. walked in. Michael was there. Don Jr. walked in, and he walked around behind the office, which nobody does. That's like Trump's personal space. You don't go back there. And he whispered to his dad, the meeting is all set. Okay, good, let me know. That was that Russian lawyer. That was about that Russian lawyer who had dirt on Hillary Clinton, and it was all about those golden showers in Moscow. So guys, that's 29 minutes. Perfecto. Hey, I gotta go. I'll be back tomorrow. Please subscribe, hit the like button. And you know what to do. See you later.